Hi parents, this is Dr. Blevins with Enilda Clinic at enildaclinic.com, and today we're going to talk about how to help your children to cope with all the changes that are happening recently with school closures, with everyone taking preventive measures due to the coronavirus. And I want to start this conversation by saying that I am not a medical doctor, I am a psychologist. And so I'm not giving you medical advice. And if ever your physician or your child's pediatrician gives you medical advice, or ever one of your political community leaders gives you a recommendation, you should 100% follow that over a generic online video, okay? But what I am talking about today is just emotion processing and stress management and how to handle anxious feelings. And so the second caveat to that is that if you have an underlying mental health issue, like an anxiety disorder or just general depression or anything like that, other things that I might not have listed, then absolutely you should be working with your mental health provider or your physician to make sure that you are getting support during this stressful time. This is stressful for everybody, but especially if you already have mental health stressors going on or life stressors going on, this can be an especially stressful time for you. And so that kind of leads me into the first point of helping your child to cope, and that is to make sure that you're coping. And so reflecting on the feelings that you're having about all of these transitions, the chaos, the things that are popping up in the media, really getting a handle on how you are physiologically responding to that, the kinds of thought patterns you're having with that, worries that might be popping up throughout the day, and really taking account so that you can understand, am I managing this well? And what are my strategies for coping and managing appropriately in a healthy way so that I can also be that support person for my child? And so strategies that I would suggest for parents, again, would be to reach out to your medical provider or your mental health provider if you have one, or consider establishing care if you don't have one. I know in the mental health community, many of us are setting up telehealth practice. That's basically where you're doing therapy through sort of like a Skype connection or a Zoom connection, except that the connection is HIPAA compliant, so it's a little bit fancier. But many providers are setting those up this week if they don't already have it set up. And so you can actually see a mental health provider from your home and get support. So even if it's not you, if it's a family member who's just kind of stressed out about this and need some advice or some strategies to cope, you can reach out and get some specific support for yourself or them from somebody in your community and talk through your specific situation. The second thing would be to not lose social connection. So to stay connected either through social networks with your family and your friends, setting up Skype calls, Zoom calls, even just doing video calling on your phone, or even just regular old telephone calling, whatever you can do so that you don't feel disconnected from other people. And talking about things outside of the virus, talking about normal everyday things, talking about achievements that your kids are doing at home, set little challenges for each other and have fun and play games and even do things for yourself. I know everyone's schedule is getting turned upside down, and so maybe think about adding in something fun just to take your mind off the stress. Because the thing is, with all of these upheavals in our schedules and all of the changes and the unknowns that are happening, we have, I guess, an extent to how much we can control it all. And so it's nice to take a mental break from all of that stress and to just give ourselves a little bit of time to relax each day so that we can just focus on the great things that we have in our life still, which is our family. Most of us are living pretty healthy lives and we're not actually impacted by the virus right now, at least in our health, we're not. In many other ways we are, but not with our health just yet. And we still have the opportunity to go outside and play and to explore and to read a book and to watch TV and to do all kinds of things. And so there are lots of positives to focus on. I think sometimes we watch the media because this is an interesting thing. It's taking over our lives, but it starts to become a pretty myopic view where it's the only thing we focus on. And so it just kind of zones in and it's the only thing we see. It's like we have blinders on. And it's nice to kind of step back and make sure that we're taking time and really emphasizing the other positive and important things in our life so that we have a broader, more full perspective of what really is happening in life over these next few weeks. Now, that will be important because whenever it does come to helping your child to emotionally cope with all of these changes, you will be modeling. That will be first and foremost what's happening. And so even whenever you don't say a word, even if you guys never have a conversation about it, your stress management style will be first and foremost what your child is seeing and using to understand how they should be processing all of the changes and the different things that are happening, how people respond to different information they see in the media. And so just being aware of your own processing is a great strategy to help your child. The second thing is to allow your child to have feelings about it, whatever feelings they might be. And so having that open conversation is a great tool to let them know that it's okay to have any feeling they might have about it, whether it's indifference or excitement that they're off from school, or anxiousness, or fear, or anger, or whatever it might be. All of the feelings are valid, right? And then also helping them to cope the same way that you have to cope. A lot of times there are parallels. You probably have a lot of those same feelings too. And it's about accepting those feelings and still having a life that's balanced, understanding the negative feelings are balanced with a lot of our positive experiences that bring out the positive feelings too. And so you can help them through that. Sometimes with younger children, drawing pictures and doing arts and crafts can be helpful for them to help them express how they're feeling about situations. You don't need to hyper focus in on having these conversations. Waiting and letting your child bring up the conversation is a good strategy to take. And offering to have the conversation every once in a while is also a good strategy to take. But forcing the conversation isn't necessarily needed. I think it's important that children are allowed to process at their developmental level. And a good way to understand what their developmental level is to allow them to guide the conversation. So whenever your child asks a question about what's going on, just simply answer the question. Many times I see parents want to dive in pretty deep and give a lot of reasons or answer the next logical question that follows. And oftentimes with younger children, they were not asking that second question. They were only asking the very superficial question. And so you can stay as superficial as their first question and not go any deeper. And that will satisfy them and it will help them to understand that they have you as a safe person to go to and that the situation that they're in is safe enough that they can explore it and process it and have complex feelings about it. And they can then go out and play and be happy and live their life because it's not overwhelming in their life. It's not something that's so big that the whole family structure and conversation and time is taken up by it. The next big thing is to just keep a routine. Now, my previous video did talk about routine, so make sure you go back and watch that one if you haven't yet. But keeping a routine is essential. That is vital for kids in any situation, a typical situation, behavior management situations or whatever it may be. But it's something that gives kids an understanding of boundaries, what they should expect, how they can come to understand how they should behave in situations, how they understand cause and effect. So there's just so much about a routine that is important for kids. And so especially in these situations, us setting up routines and boundaries for them will be helpful so that they can process all these different changes that are happening. I think that's especially important why in the routine video, I discussed setting up a routine that somewhat mimics school as far as having different portions of the day devoted to different types of activities so that their day just doesn't feel like it's just loosey-goosey, floaty. I can do whatever I want. There is no structure. I mean, those are what weekends are for, but probably not the whole week for weeks on end. So I feel like that is about it. The big thing I want to just say too is that if your child's having difficulties, you can always reach out to a provider for your child as well. It doesn't have to be ongoing therapy. It can just be for a simple consult to make sure that you have things set up in a way that's going to be helpful for your child and also healthy for your child, to make sure that all your bases are covered. Make sure that you're playing games. Play and games are the best form of stress relief, especially physically active games. So getting outside, get moving, make sure there's physical activity every single day, and really helping them to be enjoying life. I know I've said it like 4 times in this video already, but it's so, so, so important. So the last thing that I want to address, probably the thing that you care most about, is the content of what you say. And so this is something that I think is really important for both adults and kids to understand, that a big part of the social distancing that we're doing right now is preventive, and it's meant to help our medical professionals be able to manage best the people who will need significant support medically. And it's not meant to be a reactive, scary thing where people are fearful to leave their homes. But I think that in the media, it's easy to watch news stories and get fearful that you're in danger. And so I think that twist there and misunderstanding is what leads a lot of people to have, quote unquote, overreactions. And it could be important that as you're processing the information, that you also help your kids to process and have a frame of reference that as Americans, we're doing an amazing thing to be there for each other, to do social distancing so that we can protect the most vulnerable individuals in our society, and we can help our doctors and nurses and our other medical professionals to be able to help everybody who needs it by not overwhelming the system, because there will be certain people who need to have their doctor's help, and we just don't want too many of those people to have to go to the doctor at once. And so framing it as preventive rather than reactive and dangerous might be helpful for everybody involved to just feel better and calmer. And yeah. Okay, I'm a little bit distracted because I don't know if you can hear it, but my beautiful little baby right there is snoring. So that's what's keeping my mind positive right now. Anyways, so I hope you enjoyed this learning video. I am doing a series on how to support families over the next few weeks while you are helping your kids while they are off from school. If you have any questions that you would like answered, just send them my way, and you can email frontdesk@enildaclinic.com with any questions, and you can sign up for the learning videos to come into your email at enildaclinic.com, and I will be posting more about once a week, maybe a little bit more frequently over the next couple of weeks, just because I know everybody's a little stressed out. Okay guys, I hope to see you again. All right, bye.